Aunt Patty's on the square. Park County's oldest antique mall, with 22 years on the southeast corner of the square. We have 25 dealers who take great pride in stocking and maintaining their booths. In 7,500 square feet, you can find almost everything from the smallest penknife to great jewelry, vintage coins, sports cards, dishes like Grandma had, all the way to a large piece of furniture. We're open 7 days a week. Our hours are Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5, and Sunday, noon to 5.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we're going to open this public hearing for the second round, for the second hearing for the OSHA. Okra.
Water grant.
I'm sorry. I got business on my mind. Okra grant for our water project. And you guys got a comment?
It's a worthy project.
It really needs to be done.
Well, thanks for your input. Anyone else?
I don't know anything about town water. I can't go for it.
Yeah. What?
Do you not drink it?
Okay.
Are you in favor of water?
Yes.
She's out there, so.
You shower.
High quality H2O.
Is it better in Gatorade?
You need it, don't you?
So moved.
Well,
Okay,
I'd say we'll close the hearing if we get a motion.
so moved. Second.
All in favor? Meeting's adjourned. We will open our regular meeting. Cindy's outside, so Nick, do you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah, so I have a couple things. As you're aware, we previously passed the ordinance for rubbish and wastewater in the streets, prohibiting people from blowing or grass clippings or leaves or other things in the streets back in 2018. This is just a redo of that, as the signed copy has grown legs and walked off, that we need a physical signed copy in order to be able to enforce it. So this is identical to what you'd previously passed in 18. It just prescribes a penalty for blowing your grass clippings into the streets or alleyways, among other things. But that's for the board's considerations. It's set up for same day, same meeting.
I make a motion to approve and same day, same meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So Brandy, that just needs published one time within 30 days. And then it's enforceable.
Both of these here.
Yeah, that's just same day, same meeting. You guys have to be unanimous to do that. And then the other one's your vote accepting or rejecting. The other parts, I've been working with the park board as far as things they're concerned with. So I did give Melissa as well as Kim Cooper a copy of a potential agreement with the lifeguards as far as their certification and things like that. That's something the park board's working on. And I'm also working on a contract for the person running the concession stand, I think, down there at the park. For the pool. The third thing I have for you is a resolution approving matching funds for the Okra grant for the water system improvement project. This just approves where the funding would come if the grant were given through Okra. Indicates $500,000 from the ARP fund, $300,000 from the water improvement fund, $75,000 from the water depreciation fund, $75,000 from the water operations fund, and a loan from the town light cash reserve fund to the town water fund of $604,895. And then it indicates that you guys are applying for a revolving fund grant through the state of $500,000, but if that's not granted, then an additional loan of $500,000 would come from the town light cash reserve fund to the town water fund. It allows that loan to charge interest at 1% per annum from the date of issuance of the funds, if that loan were to be necessary. Also, it authorizes Brandy as well as Dave and Cindy to complete the documentation necessary for the OCRA and SRF applications, and any documents needed to obtain the funds. So that's what this is. It's just a resolution that formalizes everything. That way it gives Cindy what she needs to have to be able to send to OCRA to show that we have approved matching funds.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Did you want to talk about this at all, Cindy?
Well, are you open to the public hearing?
We already opened and closed it.
Okay.
Everybody in the audience thinks it's important.
All right, awesome. Can I get you to sign that you were in attendance at the meeting?
We don't have any official witnesses or nothing.
No, just a signature. I'll get on our own Brandy's on the board.
Hey, list your address so we can subpoena you as well.
Well, you already have it.
Yeah, it'd be handy if you said it right
It
there.
would kind of meet the Rosedale residents in favor of it.
They came from far and near for
That's
this
right.
area.
They're wanting to move
That's
to
how much
town.
this area cares about water.
That's right.
As far as the ordinances, I think I'll probably let Randy talk about that, but we do have a significant amount of ordinance violations, about 13 or so, for the nuisance properties as far as grass and other nuisance-related matters. They're at various stages in the process, anywhere from having been cited to they're making improvements to they have court dates and we've been through court before. So, but you have a list of those that Randy's provided, and that's something him and I have been working on. The other thing is I'm halfway through the evidence disposal information that Officer Martin gave me, so I should be through that before the next meeting, and we'll be able to dispose of any evidence through the legal process necessary. That way the evidence locker is not quite as congested. But that was a significant endeavor, stack about that tall of evidence that we had to go through. So it's taken me a little while to get through it because I have to go through each one and make sure the court case is closed, that we're at the part in the process where we can dispose of it and we don't have any duty to return it to anybody. So that's what I'm doing currently, and that just takes a little bit of time to get through, but I'm about halfway through it. So that's my update. Anybody have any questions?
I just was gonna ask you about the agreement with Greg Larson for a PER on our water going east.
And I'm just adding that under his name, so as a discussion.
So do we need
if
to
you
draft
want
one of those then? Is that what you're telling me?
If you guys wanna move forward. Supplying water east,
How far east?
basically Swains Crossroad. The new REMC location.
I threw that at you.
Yeah, it's open to discussion. I mean,
I
it's,
wanted to put one here. so-
Well, bids, see what we're up against.
well, I mean, that, the PER would tell us basically that, so, I mean,
So we'd be picking up a couple of customers.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I know LAB probably across the road, I'm assuming Old 36 and REMC. I don't know who else out there would be.
I think it's gonna be pretty cost prohibitive. But I guess we can see.
I don't know
I
if
mean,
you
we've got free engineering basically, if you guys
Yeah.
wanna take the advantage of it.
Yeah, you got free, but I don't know if you're just gonna do the project and not go after bid finding, you need a PER, can you just hire a firm to engineer it?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were just, I was thinking on something else, so.
Usually PERs are for grant funding, but
Yeah, but if you're not gonna do
or
it.
state agency,
The
federal
PER is
government.
giving to us at no cost.
Oh, okay, so.
So we're not investing any funds for the town to do the PER, which we really couldn't since it's outside the boundary. But the plan would be after the PER, if it is feasible in doing, is then we could pursue some SRF or USDA funding to help pay for the project
So
itself.
that PER would further, like, the scope of the PER, would be include like going further to like Belmore?
No.
It won't, okay.
So what do you need from me on that, Cindy, then?
My concern was, I mean, there's been a verbal conversation between Dave and Greg Larson. I suggested you put something in writing, just that they're going to in kind provide these services, and the expectation of the town would, it would include, you know, cost and go from point A to point B and just include these things so that it's very clear when it gets here that they can, you guys can make decisions going forward.
You know, I mean, we're not voting to put water in, we're just doing a study basically to do, you know, the engineering on it.
Did Roger give us some preliminary numbers?
Yes, he did. It was 130,000 to go to Belmore, and then it was more like 45 and 50
That's what was on the
for the point that this one would cover.
Doesn't sound like very much to go to Belmont.
No, and that's, I mean, the agreement between Greg and I was basically taking it to Swains Crossroad. And, you know, if something wants to happen past that at a later date, and we can revisit it. You know. I mean, obviously, you know, we would have a T and a valve there, and if somebody wanted to hook onto it in the future.
So if they did that, then the agreement would be that their tap on would be waived, or what is it exactly they're getting out of it then?
We didn't get into that other than the fact that, I mean, that he wants water.
So
And
they're gonna agree to do the PER or whatever, and then we're going to waive the cost to connect them to the water?
I don't think he can get into that yet, because we don't know if it's feasible financially to do the project. I think once that starts, then
So you're just wanting authorization for them to go ahead and,
just that they've offered to do it in kind, here's what the town expects in the end, and that everybody's on the same page. That's my concern, because perception may be like, Greg thinks he's doing one thing, and the expectations here are something different.
That's the only problem.
so you're really wanting more of a memorandum of understanding than you are anything else then, right?
Whatever you wanna call it, just so we got everybody on the same page.
That's what concerns me
Project
about
scope.
some of those conversations is,
project scope.
You may be expecting free water.
or if you, I mean, it can become a he said, so.
That's why we want it documented.
And I don't think he has any expectations.
I understand, I'm just saying it puts you in that position. If it's a two-party conversation, it's not in public.
And if we get to that point, obviously, it will become public. You know. So,
Okay. Well, I can work on that.
Does that make sense?
It's okay if I work with Cindy on that then?
yes.
Sounds like she has some knowledge as to what's
Do you
going
need a
on.
motion?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, I need a motion for you to tell me to do it, I guess, but.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. So,
Yeah, I was done a minute ago.
yeah, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
What about Jefferson and Howard?
Yeah, so we talked and we were looking, you guys, actually, you gave me authority a while back to do appraisals on both of those, and I was just looking at Wheeler and Matt Helmer as our appraisers on those, unless somebody has an objection to that. Those shouldn't be substantial fees for appraisals on those, so it probably won't be a whole lot. So my law firm can just cash advance it and ask for reimbursement if that's okay with the town. Did you sneak anything else on there for me?
Oh.
I didn't have anything else.
Everybody happy? Okay. Randy?
Super happy.
Were we going back to Cindy? Was that
Let's
it?
get some-
I have one more thing I was going to
Okay.
say, but yeah, I can. So you've already done the resolution, so Brandy, we scan that for me when we get a chance. Secondary thing to that, we're also going to be applying to the state revolving fund to try to get some additional grant dollars for that project. So I wondered if you could authorize,
It's in there?
no, signing of the SRF application when I
okay.
have it completed. If you guys would give Dave authorization to sign that when it's ready.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What'd you do with that resolution?
That way we've got all grants signed and resolutions and meetings all wrapped up. That was all I had, Liddy.
You're up.
Right. I've given you a copy of all this. Request to purchase of rifle evidence boxes at $73.41, and evidence ties are $18.39 for a total of $91.80. The ILEA training board has advised that there's an increase in fees for the basic class. They say due to the rising cost of food, utilities, gasoline, and maintenance. There's a copy of their email. So they doubled the price for sending a student to the academy from 500 to 1,000. And 500 just started a couple of years ago. It hasn't been very long, so. Cameron Chevy truck is still using oil. It's using a quart of oil about every couple of weeks. We're keeping an eye on it. Alsop's mechanics have said that it could just be normal oil consumption. And of course, I told him that if it was normal, then why did you change the heads on it to begin with and some pistons? And then when that didn't work, you had to change the whole motor out. Now we got a different motor in it, it's still doing it. And the rest of our Chevy trucks aren't doing that for the town. Hannah's car, the trim came off of around the windshield, so I do not have a cost of that, but that's what it looks like. And I just noticed the Vidal County car had that same thing last night. Same side. Did you guys get any of those?
Yeah.
Trim missing?
My car isn't doing that right now.
Is it? So it might be a Ford problem, but I've asked Peterson's to figure out what it might take, because we can't find a piece at all now. Bill thinks his is loose also. Bill's vehicle needs the dash camera looked at and repaired. We're not really sure what's going on with it, and we won't have a cost estimate of that until he gets in there and figures it out. It could be under warranty. I'm not sure. My truck's dash camera also, the monitor's not coming on, so I have no way of telling if it's actually working or not. $50 fee needs paid to Indiana Law Enforcement Academy for pre-basic training for 2 new reserves, so $50 each. Need approval for $3 per person for about 8 staff members to recertify in CPR, which will be taught by Reserve Officer Darian Froshire. That fee is just covering the cost of the CPR cards. And then our nuisance property violations. The clerk treasurer has copies and the town attorney does also, but I've given you the affidavit sheet. It's got properties listed. There's a couple that I don't have on there, but I also wanted to bring to your attention. Some that are corrected, if you want to mark those on your sheet. That 248 Olive Court, there's 2 of those and they've both been corrected. 920 Howard Avenue has been corrected. 404 Park Street, the town is mowing, along with 408 Park Street. They're both vacant houses. The 404, the resident or the owner of that residence died. I contacted his sister in Florida probably 6-8 months ago, and it hasn't gone anywhere. She hasn't responded. But the 408 next door is apparently a repossession by the bank. I was told it was Old National Bank. I've called them, and I can't get anywhere with them. They don't know. Neighbors tell me that they talked to the bank, and the bank told them it was already sold. But the town's mowing both of them because they were getting so high.
So they need to give me their fees for their time then if they are.
Well, and I sent them an email telling them to go ahead and do that, but to make sure they get the cost of doing that back to me or you, so that
It'd go on as a special assessment, so
Right.
then it might sell a tax sale.
and that
I don't see 408 on there.
It's not. It's one that him and I have talked about.
Okay.
yeah.
408 what?
Park Street.
Oh, it's not on their list yet, but
But it's done. And it's vacant?
it's one that the town. Yeah, it's another vacant house. It's another one that the town is mowing.
I think it's had some history in the past too, so.
1010 East High is corrected at this moment, but every time it grows up again, the neighbors call me and I call the owner and she goes down and mows it right away, so I'd really like not to have to remind her every time. The 1004 East High was corrected, their mower was just broken, they've got it taken care of. 414 Indiana Street is never corrected, even after I think we have a current judgment against them, but
I think we've actually set it for another court date. I'll have to get with you on that. But I think we have a new court date on that.
707 Hawk Street, we're filing that one too.
Yeah.
He's keeping it mowed, but is it just because there's?
He's keeping it mowed, but the brush, volunteer trees growing up around it, there's doors open, there's all kinds of stuff out there in the yard, and animals coming in and out of the partially burnt house that's been there for, I don't know, 10 years.
Not that long, but probably 8.
Long
So,
enough.
Yeah.
What can we get? I mean, it's inhabitable.
Right.
What happened to the blight situation that we?
I don't know if there's a new grant or not. They did away with it last time I looked, but I don't know if they've come back with it or
Plus,
not.
it's a double wide, which we
Found
don't.
there
let
may
them
be
come back
another
in.
agency that has a blight clearance program.
You might have sent me something on that.
No, I just recently learned about it.
Oh, okay.
But I know we got, the town owns this house down here still. Do we?
Yeah.
We're
We're getting
Smith's old house.
we're getting appraisals done on it to sell
Okay.
it.
It's kind of getting overgrown with stuff again too. I mean, we're mowing around it, but it's not, you can't see the front of the house from the volunteer stuff.
So the next court date's August 23rd on ordinance violations at 1:30. And that's 3 of these ones listed. So
Okay, 509 Indiana, 502 Indiana, both were corrected. 811 Walnut was a new one that was just done this last week, and it was corrected that night. And it's vacant, but somebody went over and took care of it. 506 North Erie and 216 Indiana Street were just turned in today. They were done over the weekend. They're both vacant properties. They've been that way for quite a while. I don't think anybody's ever lived there. The 506 North Erie, they're right next to each other, but the 506 North Erie, what was it, last year? Or
They've been out of there for.
no, but last year or so that we caught the guy
Oh, yeah, smoking.
Doing-
Yeah.
drugs in there.
hey Cameron, is that the one that we were talking about the other day?
Crowder's house?
No, it's not. Okay.
It's a guy
The
from,
506 Crowder's on it.
yeah, this guy lived up by the trailer park, and he walked down here to this vacant house to do his drugs, but
Oh, okay. A different one. Randy, 902 North Virginia, 816 North Virginia, and 414 Indiana Street are the ones set for August 23rd
okay.
at 1:30.
Just the first 3.
The first 3.
And I've got marked the 414 Indiana and 707 Hawk Street to be filed also.
All right.
So it's listed twice, the 414.
It's
Well, it's 'cause
so
it
for the
keeps
last
getting
5
cited.
years. It's been cited like twice a year for the last
I know.
5 years, and has a judgment against it. So
Why, does it ever come out in tax sale?
And then somebody's gonna, I
not-
think,
not
call
for
you, but
this process, no.
I thought I'd bring it to you guys' attention beforehand, but I'm trying to figure out how you want me to proceed with it. It's the old Dewey White property on 505 East Stark Street. Dewey used to have horses in this pasture, and I think he was grandfathered in under the town ordinance to be able to allow to have those horses there. Well, he's passed, property's now sold. Is that person allowed to have animals in there? And they don't currently, but the grass and the pasture is all grown up waist high, and adjoining properties are, would just soon have it mowed.
Well,
Do you know what
horses
it's
don't
zoned?
It's residential.
I would say it's residential.
Although, how close was it to Weese's now? Close?
No, that's a block away.
Do you
But
think
The
there's
grandfather
anything lurking
would be
around here
attached
that
to
would
the property,
indicate
would it?
whether
It was given to
there was
the owner.
anything
It was
that-
given to the owner,
To
and
the
there's
owner.
been a,
It's gonna be really old.
like, a period of that person not living there, right?
Right.
So,
So,
no,
Searching for it, but depending on how long ago it was.
This actually is this the first owner past Dewey, or,
No,
second owner passed it?
I'm gonna say if it's,
I don't know. But they don't have horses in there, but when neighbors talked to them, she said, I can put horses in there if I want. So before it becomes a problem, I'd just like to get it clarified. And, I mean, it's just past her, if she wants to bail it,
well, yeah, I mean, if you want to bail it, that's one thing. I personally think it's a slippery slope if we, I mean,
Allow
we've had the deal with the chickens a few years ago.
I had a report somebody has chickens anyway.
well, we've addressed one, and that was on Circle Drive. Had a couple of goats out there and a few chickens.
Things keep heading this direction, we're all gonna have chickens.
True, there is that.
Designated for the owner specifically,
Right,
then it
that's-
doesn't apply now.
Right, that's why I was wondering if there was a special exception granted, or if there was a variance granted, or what was done with it. But I don't, I mean, that obviously predates probably anybody
Good
sitting at
Lord,
this
Dewey
table,
probably moved in back there.
so I don't know.
70s.
Happy
Late
hunting.
60s, early
70s
70s.
probably, yeah.
I was going there when I was,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
But I
mean,
mean, that's where they lived when we all graduated.
I guess my question
so-
would be is what's it zoned, and then was there a variance or a special exception granted?
Well, I don't have access to any of that, so.
Yeah.
Of course, he was on the
And I didn't
town.
wanna
council
approach the
at
property
various
owner until I
times.
knew what exactly.
Although the house next door to that might be something to look at.
Oh, it already is.
Right.
It's already being addressed. And,
Okay.
They did mow it this last week, but there's still a lot of trash that needs cleaned up and stuff.
The horses don't eat a whole pasture full. They're not gonna keep the
You don't
grass.
like horses?
I do like horses.
Oh, and
one
Maybe
head
this
per
is a
acre.
question for you, but this may sound
My
like a
budget
stupid
request.
question, but what does
2023.
Have you emailed that to
clarify
them or no?
property as a nuisance property?
I
I mean,
can't
what's the
remember if I
difference
emailed it
between
to all
your
board
neighbor
yet or
complaining
not.
because you got toys out in the yard, or whether you're,
Well, it's a determination made by the
I
officer.
sent it to the police commission, but
So
they're not
you'll
meeting until
see
Thursday
on here
night,
it
but I figured
has-
you had to have it.
You know, all the way through R
For
as far
Wednesday,
as options
right?
and
Yeah, that would
things
be
that the
good,
officer
just to
may
have an
look
idea,
at as
so-
whether it's a
And I'd have got it
nuisance.
to you before, but I
So
was on
for
vacation.
instance,
and-
Okay, that's good. This is
Buildings
fine.
which are
Thank you.
abandoned, partially destroyed, or permitted to remain unreasonably in a state of partial construction, that's a nuisance property. Failure to close by such means as shall be acceptable to the building inspector of all doorways, windows, and other openings in vacant structures. So you're supposed to board those off, and so the building inspector could go in there and issue that as a nuisance. Unpaving buildings causing dry rot, warping, and lack of weather protection. Broken windows constituting hazardous conditions and inviting trespassers or malicious mischief, or constituting a harbor for vagrants, criminal, or immoral persons, or as to enable persons to resort thereto for the purpose of committing unlawful or immoral acts. Overgrown vegetation likely to harbor rats, vermin, or other nuisance, or causing detriment to neighboring properties or property values. Dead, decayed, deceased, or hazardous trees, weeds, or other vegetation. Accumulation storage for unreasonable periods of time of abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, inoperative trailers, campers, boats, or other mobile equipment in front yards or side yards as to abutting streets. Attractive nuisance dangerous to children in the form of abandoned and broken equipment, unprotected or hazardous pools, ponds, excavations, and neglected machinery. I mean, there's a whole bunch of things on here. So, I mean, but that's a determination made by the officer. It's not made by your neighbor or by your ex-husband or wife who doesn't like you or things like that. It's the officers.
Is that the 506 property north of here?
This is 216 is what I was reading off of.
You get the other one because there is on that 506 North Erie, you'll see in the photographs, there is a large tree in the front yard that is completely dead.
Right.
And it's probably a hazard to fall over on traffic or anybody going down the street.
Right.
I mean,
So that's-
I don't care if it falls on the house, but
So like for instance, that one, he cited it for G, dead, decayed, deceased, or hazardous trees,
Yes.
or weeds or other vegetation.
Isn't dead and deceased
And they
the
don't mow
same
it.
thing?
Dead,
It's trash.
decayed, diseased,
Oh,
sorry, I
diseased.
misspoke, diseased. So I mean, there's a lot of things that could qualify of that, but what happens is somebody calls in and complains, the officers go out and investigate, and then they make a determination, and if they give them a citation, they have a period of time to correct the problem, and if they don't correct the problem or make steps to correct the problem, that's when Randy will give me these. So this has already been through a period of time where Randy cited them and told them they have a period of time to correct the issue. So once it gets through the period he gave them, that's when I get involved and the legal process starts with the court system.
I'm sorry, but did you just say, is that 30 days?
Yeah, usually he'll give them 30 days. So right now these are June 18th, so I mean they have a period of time to try to correct the issues on the property, and he's given them specific things that they need to correct so they have an idea of what is being asked of them.
and I do all those. I don't have any of the other guys do those because I can be available to always be in court with the town attorney when we go to testify about it. I don't know night shift guys or anything, but,
Does the officer get to determine the number of days they have to correct the thing? Is there a
It's
range
a statutory of 30 days is what the statute calls for. So that's why they give them an initial date, and then I don't do anything for at least 30 days. And usually I'll talk to Randy once 30 days are up and say, hey, have they made progress? Should we give them some additional time? Or do we need to go to court?
and there's some that's been in such bad shape that they've made some progress that I've asked, they've asked me if they could have more time, and I give them more time. So as long as they're making progress and trying to get the problem corrected, that's the main thing.
The goal is to get it corrected. It's not to assess fines or fees or things on people unnecessarily. But there are some, I've been an attorney here for like 4 or 5 years. There's some that I've seen every single year for 4 or 5 years, and we've just, and even somewhere they've got a judgment against them and they still haven't corrected the property. So, I mean, there's just different, like Randy listed off about 6 that have actually fixed it since he cited them.
There's, those two were done over the weekend, and I usually get information on the owners from the town hall and stuff. Like I said, it was over the weekend, so I don't have any of that information on there. There was nothing in the computer-aided dispatch. Of course, it broke on us yesterday, but, so I don't have any owner information on there and been able to contact anybody, but the face sheet is stapled to the front of the house, so it's clean. See.
And so usually before I go to court, I'll get on and look at the tax records to see who shows up on the tax records as to the properties. But so it's a substantial process, and it's not a fast process, and it's not something we can just correct overnight. But you know, as he testified, or as he indicated, though, there's 3, 5, 7, 8 that have fixed their problems just by Randy citing them. So. And there's some other ones that we have judgments against that may not fix the property, but there's liens assessed on the property now, so. But there are other processes we can go through though, and you briefly heard that. We were talking about the town is mowing the property. If we do that, we can assess our cost in doing that as a special assessment, which is added on as a tax to the property. So then if you don't pay that, it goes through a tax sale process, but that takes 18 months. So, plus another year after that. So that's a really slow process, but it could result in you losing your property. Long enough explanation?
And that's all I have.
Can that be a blanket approval on all of these items, or do I need those specific? 'Cause
On which?
I've got all of these things
My
that
request.
he has, so can I do one on everything that I have
Oh,
listed?
yeah, you just have to reflect it in your minutes,
I will.
however you do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so does someone want to make a motion on the items listed on his request to cover those? Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, and the only other thing I have for you, Randy, is I received the email that you had sent to everybody, but it listed in there that you stated apparently the town hall has a way for people to pay fees online, but not sure how they can do it or what the website is to pay them. Also not sure that they can do such a thing and provide a receipt that shows the fee, that you can ensure that, that's requested. I don't know I know you guys have a police commission meeting coming up, and if you're
Yes.
going to discuss that, but you haven't asked me that information, so
No.
we do have a website,
No.
and we do have means for that, so
No,
I
I
just
was
wanted you to.
explaining why we haven't told anybody they could use that system yet. And I don't know what that,
It's just our Rockville website that we have where people pay their utility bills on.
but is there a thing on there for them to pay, hey, it's for,
You put the
it's for
purpose.
this? Okay. And since I haven't done that, I don't know anything about
And
it.
it's going to be, in my opinion, the discretion of the department and the police commission. If you strictly want to handle those fees just Monday through Friday during business hours here, I'm okay with it, but I want you all to be aware that there is a way for them to pay that.
Okay.
If there's, I don't know what constitutes an emergency
Well,
outside of office hours, but they can pay that and provide you a copy of something stating they paid it.
one of them would be like if we impound a vehicle on Friday night
Yes.
and somebody comes in from out of town and brings the proper documentation for the vehicle can be released, but doesn't want to wait till Monday. So they could go online and pay that $50 impound fee, and then we could get the vehicle released as long as they have, proof of proper ownership, proper registration.
Do we still use PayGov? So the town's not,
Brady just hasn't had a chance to.
It'll be a
Well,
while.
that's gonna be a process too, that's not,
Yeah. That'll be a while.
website changes. are
like
gonna
they're
be-
including a miscellaneous, so that might be
Well,
something.
this just says purpose of payment, so you can go on and pay anything that you want to, you just list your purpose of payment,
That'd be
so,
good.
yeah, I just wanna make
So I don't
sure
know,
that.
how would you like that? Would you like them to put like a ticket number or an impound number, so it's referenced? I don't know what the state board of accounts is gonna require.
Easily, on a utility bill, they put their account number if they know it sometimes,
Right.
sometimes they don't, and that's left blank, but, if it's impound, they can just put impound,
So we
we're
put
gonna
the
follow
impound
up.
form number, so we'll have something that we can match them up to
And
later.
they can text a receipt to their own phone or to you if they chose, but they can have proof if it's an after hours. So I don't know what an emergency would be after hours, but that's up to you guys how you wanna handle that.
Yeah.
If you wanna even get involved in that or strictly just do it during business hours.
Most of them should be during business hours, but some people might have, I'm only in town for the weekend, I wanna get this done, or we have had several people that have showed up at the license branch and wanna get their place, but they tell them they have to have a title check done first. And it specifically says they can walk right out to the car and do it, but it has to be done by a police officer or a B&B employee. But B&B won't do it, they want the police to come up and do it.
Okay.
We're just directing people from now on to come up here and pay that fee. An officer can meet them here to do that after it's paid. Yeah, forge my name.
Let me go.
Sure.
Okay.
I forgot about that part, thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, so claims are in the amount of $514,631.78.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Should we pause a moment?
You guys are quick, hold on.
All in favor?
You're looking. Take
Aye.
its place.
Oh, sorry, I keep missing that too. We do have $28.07 that I need approval for. There are square up fees for the swimming pool, for the credit card.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Which I don't have a to date number, but I know we're well over 11,000 on admissions and passes for the
What
pool,
is
so I think that's
it
pretty
was-
good.
I don't think so.
shorter.
Thank you.
Almost 12.
Okay, I knew it was over
Yeah.
11, but
No.
did you guys, it was kind of later this afternoon, but I sent those just compensation amounts. Did anybody have any questions on all of them?
No, and I
Do you
think
wanna-
Jeff sent them out last week too.
Well, right, I just sent them out so you don't have to click on each link.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of all in one group together. There's parcel 5, parcel 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Since this is one of the issues that seems to be hanging us up because it has to be done by August and we're not even halfway through, is there any reason we couldn't give a blank since we're not actually taking action? It's not a Monty. Could he not just sign those as they come in?
What are they? Sorry, I was doing
All
something.
of these
Basic
for the
purchase
South Market
compensation.
project.
Because they can't make an offer until we approve these. And we're,
Right, but you're taking official action and approving them, and that allows them to make an offer, though. I mean, you could put a cap on it, I guess, of authority for approval as long as they don't exceed a certain number. Or you could give your president the authority to.
that's what I was saying.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we're almost to July and we're not halfway through these right-of-ways. And if we don't get them done by August, we're looking at losing
So, I
the
mean,
money.
you could, for this particular project, you could give him the authority to sign these, yeah.
Giving Dave the authority.
Right, yeah.
All right.
I thought you meant Jeff.
I did too.
No,
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's different, yeah.
I make that
I mean, this
motion.
is a project you're going through with.
Yes, it's
just
not
what's
like we
the
really
dollar
have any
amount.
choice if we want
Right.
to go with the project.
Right. No,
Did you make a motion?
I did.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Um,
Have we had any movement or conversation about moving things along?
we don't really need
I
a cap
didn't.
if he's going to
Park
sign
said he
these,
did.
correct? I don't
You don't
think
need
that's
what?
necessary.
What?
Cap on them.
I mean,
No.
I made it pretty
I mean, he's
plain
board
and simple to
president,
him how I felt.
They just gave him
Told him
authority
if
to
it's
sign
not
on
gonna
board's
happen,
behalf.
I'll have my own talk with Ken, and he chose to take care of that himself, so.
Was he upset? Park or whoever?
Well, yeah, I mean, a little bit, but not as upset as I am.
Failure to communicate.
Failure to do
Yeah, I pretty much
the
said
job.
that'll be their last project with us if they don't get it wrapped up by August the 12th. So, that's how I feel. I hope you guys feel the same way, but that was my opinion, and that's the way I stated it. And I was being as kind as I could,
Well, I think you got some backing on that.
so. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then, you know. I mean, he assures me that we won't lose funding. The problem will be that, my understanding, Cindy can probably help me with this,
We would
maybe,
be
I don't
out
know.
several years, and then
Yes,
the
they
cost
can-
would be
yes,
more significant,
They can back up the project, so,
which is basically the death of the project.
yes.
So it's gonna end up costing you more in the end.
Yes.
Okay, while you're signing those, the community center, I've done a little bit of cleaning of the floor, bathroom, and kitchen area. It still needs a lot of stuff to happen yet. I'm gonna try to run a floor polisher to get the floor cleaned up and some additional cleaning there, so that's moving along. I did have a question. It's the first time someone's approached. Someone's wanting to rent the community center for an overnight party, and it says 4 9-year-olds and a mother is what I was given the information today. It's in July, and I said since we had a meeting tonight that I would ask. They're wanting to have a teepee party.
I don't know.
Sounds like a rave.
Well, what's the normal rental fee?
The normal rental's for like
$50 and
For
50
what period of time?
Well, if they
Couple
want to, they can
hours.
rent it for the Saturday. They'll get the key.
8
They can pick it
hours.
up on a Friday night and have the party on Saturday. Return it Saturday night or Sunday morning.
But
depending
normally
on-
it'd be 8 hours for the $50 or 4 hours for
There's
50.
nothing that states that. So I just wanted to ask and see if
I don't have an issue with it unless there's a liability being up there overnight, but.
Not any more so than if they're there at any other time.
That's what
It's
was
just
given
whether
to me
you want
was,
somebody in your property after dark or not.
They can't really hurt it, can
I don't, in this situation, I mean, it's
You said it's
four
in the
9-year-old
graduation
kids,
party
it's
or-
not.
You said it's in
It's already
July.
hurt
Yeah.
to start with,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's like 9-year-old kids.
I don't,
If it was 19-year-old kids, it might be a little different.
With that big window.
You don't want them in there anytime.
I don't.
I don't really need anything, I don't think, on it. I just wanted to, since we were having a meeting,
Did
said I
we
would
get
just-
are we getting a cleaning service for the building?
I'm gonna see what I can get done initially myself, and get that floor taken care of. I think from then moving forward, then we can talk about maybe somebody going in periodically. It's just, it needs a lot of work to get to a point to where you can hire somebody to clean under those terms.
We can always sell the building.
That's another good option.
Yeah, are you saying it's dirty or it's in disrepair?
It's very dirty. It's very dirty. Dirty to me, maybe not be dirty to other people, but
Would there be any interest in selling the building? I could have it appraised while I'm having the other two properties appraised.
Honestly, yeah, I'd like to move it, but that's a discussion for the board, so that's my opinion.
Well, would an appraisal hurt anything?
How long is it valid?
1 year. Just something to think about. I mean,
Yeah, you can mull it over. Yeah.
An appraisal's good for you.
as far as us being able to sell it, we'd have to have a second one before we could actually sell it. They'd give you a ballpark idea on it. Usually they come within a
I
couple
don't think that's
thousand.
such a big deal. Wouldn't cost us that much.
Nah, a couple $100.
Throw it in with the
You wanna
appraisals.
Make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm indifferent.
Good.
did you say no?
I said I'm indifferent.
Oh.
Abstention.
Abstain.
All right.
I don't think anybody's beating down the door to buy it.
Just seemed like you guys are having some overhead cost on it and things, so upkeep, yeah.
Let's see, that's an appraisal.
Poor little old ladies will need somewhere else to play canasta.
Well, I mean,
They could buy the building.
Good idea.
either that or raise the deposit. I mean, it's my understanding of the other towns, community centers are getting $75 to $100.
Charge $75 and then we can pay $50 for our cleaning and still come out money ahead.
Well, it's like I said, it's, you know, it gets to a point where it's too expensive to walk away from it, and I think at least $75 would be. I mean, you're either going to clean it or you're going to pay $75, or we're going to keep your 75. So, you know,
Well, just because we get an appraisal doesn't mean it's going to be for sale.
I mean, I see it this way. I mean, I know over time things are going to get dusty and you know, but if the place is cleaned up and people are in and out of it all the time and they're cleaning it up, it should stay relatively clean. So, you know,
I believe it
I
can
mean,
stay maintained, but it's so far now that, you know, it's gonna take a lot of work to get it to where it's in a rentable space that where you feel justified that you're charging someone to rent the facility. Nick did prepare an ordinance for the utility receipts tax repeal that's effective July 1st. I do not have the numbers back from INPA yet on that, but we do have to adopt an ordinance prior to July 1st to repeal those. It's a 1.4% of your total bill. If somebody wants to make a motion to.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
To sign, please. All right, it was brought to my attention that there was a complaint that somebody had parked or drove along a sidewalk There is an ordinance stating that no person may ride nor drive any vehicle along or across a sidewalk except for necessary active crossing at a properly established driveway or similar vehicle crossing. Just for everyone's information.
Well, there are folks that ride their golf carts up and down the sidewalks, especially on 41.
That would be good for that.
There is an ordinance.
Lawnmowers.
and
What about
it's-
parking on these
It's online.
sidewalks?
As long as you're
No,
not
you cannot do
publicly
that.
intoxicated.
I'm sorry, what?
He just asked if he could park on it, I said no.
So you can't ride animals on it either?
No, you cannot ride your horse or
Dog or donkey?
whatever, I mean,
If
you
they
can walk your
law,
dog,
can't
but.
park on it, that would be good, too.
And then I sent an email to you guys on the Jackson Jack parking lot, and maybe the police commission can have a conversation about that again. I know Kevin's not here tonight, or I'd ask him again. He didn't get a whole lot of feedback from public safety on that when I talked to him last, but we do have a proposal of one of the school's organization. They are willing to staff it if we can come up with some kind of a shared cost with them that, they could have some of the proceeds for that. Something to keep in mind, whether they approached me and I said I would ask. No doubt public safety could use those funds. I think with public safety, in my opinion, you're gonna have a hard time finding people from public safety to staff that because Bridge Festival is the busiest time for both police and fire. So here's an option that the school is willing to come in and help and staff that for those 10 days for a little bit of those proceeds. So, anybody has any feedback on that, or I can just,
How they want to split their fee?
they are open for anything, they're just,
I'm assuming this is for post-prom, is that what you said?
Do they use any other parking lot?
they had the First Financial bank lot.
That's right.
They actually do have the library, but they would like to give that to somebody else if they could try to work something out with us. So,
How about
they're not wanting to take all the parking spots for themselves. I mean, they're, wanting to share.
And they only do the library on the weekend.
Oh, okay. She didn't get into details, but they're willing to give that to some other organization to raise a little bit of funding for them as well, so.
So do they work that for the 10 days? The actual through the week too?
She said they would.
Because they're out of school. So. 60 S40 then?
I'm good with it. I made an offer via email that, I would work at least one day if public safety wanted to be a part of it, but,
And I'm not saying
I'm
that
just-
public safety
that's my
couldn't
opinion,
or
so.
shouldn't by any means. If anybody has extra time, obviously, then that's, more than welcoming to have them staff that, but I just know that's a really busy time.
And if you don't
Too.
work it for public
Absolutely.
safety,
So,
then work
but
it
if
for
you've-
post-prom.
Got a spouse, a family member or something that would be willing to help out would be obviously beneficial too if
I
those
would
proceeds are
volunteer,
going
but I'm
to.
otherwise occupied that week.
do what?
I said I would volunteer, but I'm otherwise occupied that week. I'd much rather be there than Mansfield or.
What do you think
busy
about,
that week?
what do you think about the split number?
I'm good with it.
Well, yeah,
If
but
they're gonna work
I
it,
said 60,
I don't.
40.
60/40?
Yeah,
60 for us?
Yes.
50/50?
We
I
purchased
would
it.
lean more towards 50/50.
Yeah.
If they're gonna work it for us,
They're willing to staff it the whole 10 days. So,
Yeah. 50-50 for me.
I'd be good with that. If they're good with it,
So then you gotta set a price on what it's gonna cost to park there then, right?
Some of the lots were $5.
I was gonna say, in that area, about $5 usually, somewhere in there.
And they made it clear they wouldn't want to go, it'd be up to you all. You wouldn't want to go higher and, just to, I don't want to charge $7 when the parking lot next to you is $5. It's just.
I would,
It's just
Charge what they're charging in Chicago,
I would ask this.
50.
I talked to Jeff about it, and obviously Jefferson Street's gonna start here next week. What do you guys think about painting the angles on York Street on the south side of it? I mean, it just continued from the west to the east, just what what the foundation has. Because we moved that sidewalk back in, so
Do they
it
have,
was,
do they have diagonals on your?
they have angle parking.
Oh, like, yeah, like parallel parking.
Yeah, and that would add, I don't know, X
It's
amount
angled
of parking
parking.
spots.
It is on the library
Parallel.
side, but it's parallel on the foundation side.
It's angled.
No,
It's
it's not.
angled.
On the foundation side?
If you're facing west.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
yeah,
but
yeah,
if
yeah,
you're-
yeah.
If you're
Yeah,
facing
okay, I got you,
York
yeah.
on the north, it's angled.
Okay.
So you're working on my feeble mind
I-
here, you know,
Your,
but,
your 4 poles, antique looking utility poles for up there just arrived
oh, okay,
right before the meeting.
okay.
I had to call Doug in to come unload them.
So, do you guys have a problem with us painting those? You want a handicap up there or okay.
Maybe one hand.
On the corner, yeah.
Also in the parking lot, just to keep it straight, can we get some yellow paint and paint the parking lot out, especially if we're
Doesn't, I
going
mean,
to.
by then, for sure, if he doesn't already, Roger has the, sort of the design, or,
Oh, I'm sure he's got it.
so we could kind of go along with that, couldn't we?
Well, if they let them drive on and mark it, it'll kind of compact the rock a little bit.
Without Jeff not being here, maybe you know, what's the situation with getting the chargers in, do you know?
They're waiting for us to get the pre-work done, and then they're gonna come in and set them. And they were waiting, I thought he said maybe on some locates or something. He said something in his,
Really?
Could I suggest that, if you're doing that at night, make some ordinance or something with the parking lots closed at night, so you don't have people that just show up in the public parking lot for free all night and stay there all the next day or week.
It's probably not a bad plan for the
And we can
festival.
post it.
Has to be emptied or be towed.
Yep.
that email he sent for items for boards.
I'm
and
looking at it,
something
I'm
about
looking at it.
Is that a motion?
For what?
Yes.
Close the parking lot?
What do you mean
Oh.
approval?
So
They-
would we
they-
need to
they would
put
have
like,
adopt
Do we need to
whatever.
include everything in
Yeah,
it?
put some signs up and say
Did we make a
parking lot
motion that we're gonna do a
closed at night,
50-50
vehicles
split?
left
No,
over.
that was just going back to that. I wanted
I'll
to
make them-
document it.
yeah.
I'll
What
get
time do
back
you
to
wanna
the
close
school
it?
to make sure.
Midnight?
10?
Well, you got stuff going at the 36 until late. So I'd say midnight.
Reopen at 8 AM or?
Yeah.
So I'll make the motion. The post-prom is gonna do it.
Wanna
Six
open
a.m.
before 8 a.m.
50-50
with the-
split.
I would think so. I would think
$5,
so. I would think so.
$5 parking
7
fee.
a.m. for the people to get there early.
6A to midnight.
It's whenever the school people.
Whatever they,
run.
yeah, does, whatever time they wanna start staffing it is when we'll open it.
Right.
So you'll need signs that say it'd be towed at owner's expense then. That'd be a Jeff thing.
Well, the vehicle be impounded, subject to the
At owner's
$50
expense,
fee.
yeah.
You're
All right,
fashionably late.
All he says about the charging stations, waiting for electrical department.
Okay. And we are gonna try to put one at the depot.
That, yeah, there was
Also,
something he was waiting on for that. Maybe that was the locates.
They need to contract boring for electrical at the depot.
Well, I think UMAC can step up and do that.
Just for your information.
Okay.
He wasn't listening.
Did you say they're volunteering to do that?
I didn't say that. I thought they'd step up though.
To do the boring at the depot for the charging station?
74 hours. in.
Or he's like,
You betcha, Dave, we'll do it.
He's so agreeable tonight. Sure, it's all good.
I thought we had a boring shoot, but I guess not.
I don't think so.
I don't think we do.
Well, I guess we don't, but I just thought we might have
Is
one.
that a motion to buy one?
No.
I think that includes everything, doesn't it?
would anyone like to second a motion for post-prom to go along with the public safety on a 50-50 split at $5 for parking? And they will start and finish that according to their schedule. And I would like to welcome the public safety still as well. Just because they're willing to staff that doesn't mean that we can't offer some time if we have it. So
If we have it.
I think that would be, and it can be a family member. It doesn't have to be you know, an
Like the
officer.
kids.
We're significant other.
Does anyone want to second that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, you can, I just had a couple other things I wanted to touch base on, but
Okay,
wherever
well,
you
our
want
whole
me.
business, we kinda took care of that, didn't we?
No, I wanted to mention, since Letty, I was gonna ask you too, if you know of anything, from the county, if the town is gonna get any kind of settlement for the community center for the COVID this year.
I can, if somebody will send me an invoice, we just need to, I don't think we started until, we only did testing, starting in April, or was it March? End of March?
Have to look, but
Yeah, have to look. Vaccines didn't start until actually May, like probably May 6th.
if we did something for April, May, and June,
Yeah.
would that be fair? And then do you guys want to vote on something, as far as the cost goes?
Whatever we charged before.
What's the rental fee?
Well, it was, I guess we got a $5,000 total, but that might have been for a more lengthy
It was
period of time
like,
because
it was
a couple
eight,
years ago.
it was 8 months, it was for 8 months and it was,
But it was per month.
you know,
I have to look at
we
it.
did it at the end because we didn't have the money up front.
Right, but there was a certain fee per month based on how many times.
No, we agreed to the
There was a discussion
5,000.
made in a meeting, we were talking about
'Cause it was
what
like
we could rent it for.
$50.
And then we were doing like, you know, if it was,
I think it was
50 for 2 days, so $400 a month.
Yeah.
Was a conversation, I don't know that we voted on that
Okay.
necessarily, but I just, if you wanna have something documented before I get an invoice to you on that, you know, if you wanna decide on it.
Well, how long were the clinics generally?
Well, like this time, vaccines are only 3 to 6 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Testing is Mondays and Thursdays. We were supposed to do a third Saturday of the month. I think we only did one of those. They didn't do one in April. Or they did one in April, they didn't in May, and they didn't this month. But,
I mean, I would just treat it as somebody booking the space.
Go back to get more of a schedule and see.
Because we don't rent it out while they're in there doing their.
we didn't have any conflicts this time because we didn't, like I said, we only did the one Saturday.
So do we want to do just a $50 a day, and then I can get with you on some kind of a schedule, and then we'll see how
Or
many
not to,
days.
like, I think Nick worked out $400 a month if it had been used every Saturday, so maybe not to exceed $400 a month,
Okay.
which would be like $1,200.
How much longer are they still going to do it?
Well, we'll be done there at the end of June, but they've now thrown more money at us through the end of December, but it's going to be done in a more clinic setting. It's going to be available. So they're going to give us another $50,000.
So where are you putting the clinic?
We don't know yet.
You wanna say something, Randy?
Had a request from some folks there at the park, said the Little League's over
I believe so.
for summer, if the gates couldn't be open and unlocked for more parking.
Not after I saw those comments on Shannon.
I don't pay attention to those, but it was brought up when your sister backed into another car at the pool the other day. But
I am not responsible for my sister's driving ability or lack thereof.
it was pretty packed, and they could have used the additional parking around there. If the ball season's over, then can we open the gates back up?
I say we'll take it up at the next park board meeting.
They were,
I said I'd pass it along.
Did you need anything?
I'm not done.
Any motions? Oh, you're not done? Okay. Well, you're looking at me like you were ready to move on, so.
No, on the community center, we already discussed that, then I'll work with Liddy, we'll put up some type of an invoice together, just to have
Yeah.
some type of reimbursement that we could get back into the community center. Can I go to the new business?
Yeah.
Okay. There was kind of mention, and we can talk about this at a later date, but responsibilities of departments and assets that belong to the town. I use as an example of the pool and community center, just because I think that we need to have maybe a further conversation as to not designating one particular person responsible for these items, but if it's the town owns and they own an asset, it is the town's responsibility, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, that we maintain that. And there's been some conversation of, well, that's not something that I should have to do or not do. I don't think that needs to be a question. I think it needs to be a joint effort that everybody joins in together as a team and we all take care of these items instead of saying that that's not something that I should do or my guys should do or anything else. And I ran into a situation today. Just want to remind everyone that all the buildings and gates need to be locked at the end of the day. The building today that was unlocked probably should have been locked. I don't know who left it unlocked, or it doesn't really matter. Just a reminder, make sure all the buildings and gates are locked
They're unlocked down at the park now.
whenever you leave them.
They're unlocked down at the park now.
At the,
Okay.
what at the park? Well, and that's not what I'm talking about, but
Oh.
this is actually a building that should have been secured and locked and was not. So I'm assuming it was unlocked all weekend. So just everybody can work together and to make sure that all of those buildings, I wasn't specifically talking about that gate, I just put gates in there because I know we have multiple, we have some at the wastewater plant, but you guys are in and out
But
of there,
she only
you take care of
opens it
that.
to unload her supplies. Oh, I don't know, there was no ball going down. There was nobody over there.
But that's who was opening them earlier in the year when we told you to lock them.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know who all has keys. I asked for that information, I didn't get it, so I don't know who all has keys.
I don't know if other guys can pay them, I'm assuming.
Real quick, back on that. Department responsibilities. I mean, you guys got any feelings on that? I mean,
They need to be responsible.
I agree. I mean, we need to discuss it and make sure that it's out there and everybody understands that if you're asked to do something, get it done. I mean, I'm not doing that because it's not my problem. I want this crap taken care of. When somebody asks, I want it taken care of. I mean, do you guys feel the same way or?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Okay, easy enough. Let's move forward. So, I want to go back to Randy. We didn't approve any of your requests.
You did,
Oh, we
I
did?
I took care of
Okay.
it,
No,
yeah.
I must have missed that.
I just did it
I'm
as
sorry.
a blanket type. I
Must
didn't
have-
go into individual ones that you got.
Telling you, my brain's getting feeble. So-
Oh,
You're at that age.
Okay, did we talk about any of Jeff's stuff?
I don't think he was really asking for anything.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna, just to mention it,
do you know,
community-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean,
Do you know where we're at on the pool chair, the lift chair?
He's looking to rent one depending on how long Spears is gonna take to get one.
Did anybody get back with you? The schools?
No, I haven't contacted anybody
Oh, okay.
at this point.
Okay.
So I'm just putting that out there that, if it's, I was just told today that I think it is like not repairable.
No, it's not.
able to be fixed. So we need to move forward and try to find something that we can either rent one or how quickly we can get one and try to get that done as soon as possible.
Because we have to have
There
one.
is a gentleman that utilizes that chairlift, so it is important for the
Although I
pool
did see him at
to have that.
Walmart last weekend, and I said, I haven't seen you at the pool. And he's like, no, I haven't been there for a while. And I was like,
He was just there the other day because Danny and
Danny
Tyler
and
had
Tyler,
a
yeah,
problem in
lifted
the
it.
pool.
I told him to come.
Yeah.
Then it was like 2 days later, the lift chair was gone.
Yeah, so.
I know, I'm like, crap.
Okay. I'll follow up tomorrow about the chair. Because we've got to get it, so. And this has probably been our best year of pool business since I've been,
And I
Here.
haven't had a chance to look at those job descriptions, but I think we need to go into a little more detail in guards and stuff, because I was approached by Pammy the other day when I was down there about the condition of the bathroom. She's like, there's mold growing in there, and she offered to show people that she's told them she uses one of those weed things, canisters. She mixes it with some bleach water.
we're not having them spray stuff.
Yeah.
Remember, we changed their job description.
I'm not talking about pesticides, I'm just
Oh.
talking about cleaning bathrooms.
Okay.
I mean, bleach isn't gonna hurt it unless they drink it. But I mean, as guards, we always had to clean the bathrooms, or the manager did.
That's all I have.
Okay. Troy, you got anything?
I do, I'll be brief. We had a inspection of the wastewater treatment plant last week. We're pretty good, there's a few things we need to correct. At the plant, there was 2 flow meters that didn't get calibrated for some reason. They calibrated 2 that were beside the other 2, but anyways, we got them scheduled to get calibrated. We got dinged on our the collection system on the I&I, and the way we record the lift stations. I know the guys go out every morning and do that. So Bruce made up a form and worked with Jeff, and I think they're going to fill that out every day now. And the inspector was okay with that. With the I&I, it's something we always had. And with our raw inflow, we're at 100% capacity. We were a lot of times this year. So we need to look at, we're going to have to come up with a plan to address that moving forward. And I think right now, like, we're not going to reorder anything like that, but we got time. But we need to do something that they're going to like, I guess. And we have to give a response. And I'm going to get with Jeff on that. But whether it's, manhole investigation, maybe doing some smoke testing every now. I know some of the lift stations that we know are high flow areas, maybe going out from there, doing some flow monitoring, and just trying to narrow down where the areas are. Maybe there, then we can do some televising, little things that we just need to show that we're trying to correct that issue. I don't think it's an issue that you'll ever get corrected. All the communities in the state have the same problem, but just to make you aware that we need to start working with it. And I'm going to work with Jeff, and we're going to kind of come up with a plan, something we can implement over time. So it just doesn't get hit all at once. But yeah, so other than that, and they had the county working at the pond and cleaning that up. And that, that was always a thorn on our side. We always got money for that, which we did. So that looked good. He said the guys did a really good job. So kudos to them on that. And other than that, I think we're okay.
Okay. Well, anybody want to make a motion to adjourn? No.
Oh, I still have.
No, you still got it?
I wanted to bring up, I talked to Ronnie, and that the water main work on 12-inch, he's planning on doing that probably the 3rd week in July, as soon as he gets back from the rodeo. So I know the parts did come in, so.
How about hydrants?
Hydrants, he's gonna be working on that too. He said he's got the list. So, I'm good.
Good. Cindy?
I just want to make a comment on Troy, when you're talking about the I&I, because that was a big piece of when we did the sewer project, the sewer rehab, it was supposed to reduce that. With a lot of the cracked sewer pipes and all the stormwater getting in, and that was a significant, supposedly supposed to be significant impact on reducing or improving that. So evidently when we say that, that's not really the case.
This I&I thing is something that you can spend millions and millions of dollars for and just keep searching for it and never see the reduction that you.
You mean we haven't spent millions and millions?
Well, millions more. But I guess it's kind of a game that you've got to play. They want to see you do it, but it's just one of those things that a lot of that stuff, majority of it comes from the private side too. Clean outs or sump pumps and things like that. And, a lot of it's education, and we can work on doing some education too, but it's just really tough to control I&I. It really is. And although we're not under the order, we got the storm pond, so our effluent numbers are good. It's just, we may get dinged for it, but if we show that, hey, we're trying, we provide this educational material to our customers, we go out and we inspect manholes for leaks and things like that. I hope that'll keep them satisfied, which is just, you know, standard maintenance on your system to keep it up. But it's one of those things you just, I just hate seeing people go out there and just dump millions of dollars into something because you're just not gonna see it. You're just not gonna see it come back, so.
Well, the reason why I said that is because when we do get presentations from PERs and things, that it says, oh, you're gonna see this, but that may not always be the case, that you're gonna see the reduction. That's why I wanted to mention that, because that was a big selling point on the previous wastewater one we did. The thing I wanted to mention, Okra has, or let me say it this way, Okra is opening their historic preservation grants on July 6th. And the historic preservation grants are a 50-50 exterior work, meaning roofs, windows, doors. So as you think about your historic district here downtown, if you know owners of buildings that are looking for opportunities to do some cost sharing or help with some of those improvements, please either let me know, they can come to me and I can get them the information that they need. I don't remember the deadline date. I know it opens July 6th. It's probably going to be open at least a month, I would say.
I don't suppose we can apply on behalf of a property.
No. No, but just wanted to put that out there so everyone is aware and you think about your downtown.
Does it apply to us? Is the depot
Sure.
part of downtown?
Is it a historic property? The depot is not in a historic district, but if it's on the National Registry, it does qualify.
Like this about what we're doing.
And I have a book, if you wanna look.
Oh, I wanna see, where did you get that?
They're available at the depot.
I saw one somewhere else, and I thought this is really neat.
Yeah,
You just snatched that right out.
Yeah.
it's $40. I have to look. And I don't remember.
I told Josh,
We can look in the book.
I think it'll be useful for him in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
For Josh.
that's all I had.
Okay, Kevin,
One thing I'd make to the party, so we'll go back and rehash that stuff, but there's an 8 o'clock meeting at Fast Pace tomorrow morning. Look at the plans, look at the property, the new
Urgent care.
urgent care center, 8 a.m.
Where's it gonna be?
Jeff will be there or not,
Across from Casey's.
where Joe Martin used to be.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Oh, no, that's not what I was thinking.
Hmm?
That's not what I was thinking.
Where's that?
So next to the B&B?
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking it was across from Casey's.
Where's the meeting at? Where's the meeting at?
It's on site.
Okay, and you said at 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
okay. Anybody else got anything?
My motion stands.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.